What Wikipedia is not. Part 2. Wikipedia is not a directory. Wikipedia encompasses many lists of links to articles within Wikipedia that are used for internal organization or to describe a notable subject. In that sense, Wikipedia functions as an index or directory of its own content. However, Wikipedia is not a directory of everything in the universe that exists or has existed. Please see Wikipedia: alternative outlets for alternatives. Wikipedia articles are not 1. Lists or repositories of loosely associated topics such as, but not limited to, quotations, aphorisms, or persons, real or fictional. If you want to enter lists of quotations, put them into our sister project WikiQuote. Of course, there is nothing wrong with having lists if their entries are relevant because they are associated with or significantly contribute to the list topic. Wikipedia also includes reference tables and tabular information for quick reference. Merged groups of small articles based on a core topic are permitted. 2. Genealogical entries. Family histories should be presented only where appropriate to support the reader's understanding of a notable topic. 3. The white or yellow pages. Contact information such as phone numbers, fax numbers and email addresses is not encyclopedic. Likewise, disambiguation pages, such as John Smith, are not intended to be complete listings of every person named John Smith, just the notable ones. 4. Directories, directory entries, electronic program guides, or resources for conducting business. For example, an article on a broadcaster should not list upcoming events, current promotions, current schedules, format clocks, etc. Although mention of major events, promotions or historically significant program lists and schedules may be acceptable. Likewise, an article on a business should not contain a list of all the company's patent filings. Furthermore, the talk pages associated with an article are for talking about the article, not for conducting the business of the topic of the article. 5. Sales catalogs. An article should not include product pricing or availability information unless there is an independent source and a justified reason for the mention. Encyclopedic significance may be indicated if mainstream media sources, not just product reviews, provide commentary on these details instead of just passing mention. Prices and product availability can vary widely from place to place and over time. Wikipedia is not a price comparison service to compare the prices of competing products, or the prices and availability of a single product from different vendors or retailers. 6. Non-encyclopedic cross-categorizations, such as people from ethnic, cultural, religious group X employed by organization Y or restaurants specializing in food type X in city Y. Cross-categories such as these are not considered a sufficient basis for creating an article, unless the intersection of those categories is in some way a culturally significant phenomenon. 7. Simple listings without context information. Examples include, but are not limited to, listings of business alliances, clients, competitors, employees, except CEOs, supervisory directors and similar top functionaries, equipment, estates, offices, store locations, products and services, sponsors, subdivisions and tourist attractions. Information about relevant single entries with encyclopedic information should be added as source prose. Lists of creative works in a wider context are permitted. Wikipedia is not a manual, guidebook, textbook, or scientific journal. Wikipedia is an encyclopedic reference, not an instruction manual, guidebook, or textbook. Wikipedia articles should not read like 1. Instruction manuals. While Wikipedia has descriptions of people, places and things, an article should not read like a how-to style owner's manual, cookbook, advice column, legal, medical or otherwise, or suggestion box. This includes tutorials, instruction manuals, game guides, and recipes. Describing to the reader how people or things use or do something is encyclopedic. Instructing the reader in the imperative mood about how to use or do something is not. Such guides may be welcome at Wikibooks instead. 2. Travel guides. An article on Paris should mention landmarks, such as the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, but not the telephone number or street address of the best restaurants, nor the current price of a café au lait on the Champs-Élysées. Wikipedia is not the place to recreate content more suited to entries in hotel or culinary guides, travelogues, and the like. Notable locations may meet the inclusion criteria, but the resulting articles need not include every tourist attraction, restaurant, hotel or venue, etc. While travel guides for a city will often mention distant attractions, a Wikipedia article for a city should list only those that are actually in the city. If you wish to help write a travel guide, your contributions would be more than welcome at our sister project, WikiVoyage. 3. Game guides. An article about a game should briefly summarize the story and the main actions the player performs in the game. Avoid lists of gameplay concepts and items unless these are notable as discussed in secondary sources in their own right in gaming context, such as the BFG 9000 from the Doom series. A concise summary of gameplay details, specific point values, achievements, time limits, levels, types of enemies, etc. is appropriate if it is essential to understanding the game or its significance in the industry, but walkthroughs and detailed coverage are not. 4. Internet guides. Wikipedia articles should not exist only to describe the nature, appearance or services a website offers, but should also describe the site in an encyclopedic manner, offering detail on the website's achievements, impact or historical significance, which can be kept significantly more up to date than most reference sources, since editors can incorporate new developments and facts as they are made known. See the current events portal for examples. 5. FAQs. Wikipedia articles should not list frequently asked questions, FAQs. Instead, format the information as neutral prose within the appropriate article. 6. Textbooks and annotated text. Wikipedia is an encyclopedic reference, not a textbook. The purpose of Wikipedia is to present facts, not to teach subject matter. Articles should not read like textbooks, with leading questions and systematic problem solutions as examples. These belong on our sister projects, such as Wikibooks, Wikisource, and Wikiversity. Some kinds of examples, specifically those intended to inform rather than to instruct, may be appropriate for inclusion in a Wikipedia article. 7. Scientific journals. A Wikipedia article should not be presented on the assumption that the reader is well versed in the topic's field. Introductory language in the lead, and sometimes the initial sections of the article should be written in plain terms and concepts that can be understood by any literate reader of Wikipedia without any knowledge in the given field before advancing to more detailed explanations of the topic. While wiki links should be provided for advanced terms and concepts in that field, articles should be written on the assumption that the reader will not or cannot follow these links, instead attempting to infer their meaning from the text. 8. Academic language. Text should be written for everyday readers, not just for academics. Article titles should reflect common usage, not academic terminology, whenever possible. Academic language in the text should be explained in lay terms. 9. Case studies. Many topics are based on the relationship of factor 10 to factor y, resulting in one or more full articles. For example, this could refer to situation X and location Y, or version X of item Y. This is perfectly acceptable when the two variables put together represent some culturally significant phenomenon or some otherwise notable interest. Often, separate articles are needed for a subject within a range of different countries, due to substantial differences across international borders. Articles such as Slate Industry in Wales and Island Fox are fitting examples. Writing about oak trees in North Carolina or blue trucks, however, would likely constitute a POV fork or original research, and would certainly not result in an encyclopedic article. Wikipedia is not a crystal ball. Wikipedia is not a collection of unverifiable speculation or presumptions. Wikipedia does not predict the future. All articles about anticipated events must be verifiable, and the subject matter must be of sufficiently wide interest that it would merit an article if the event had already occurred. It is appropriate to report discussion and arguments about the prospects for success of future proposals and projects or whether some development will occur if discussion is properly referenced. It is not appropriate for editors to insert their own opinions or analyses. Predictions, speculation, forecasts and theories stated by reliable, expert sources or recognized entities in a field may be included, though editors should be aware of creating undue bias to any specific point of view. In forward-looking articles about unreleased products, such as films and games, take special care to avoid advertising and unverified claims. In particular, 1. Individual scheduled or expected future events should be included only if the event is notable and almost certain to take place. Dates are not definite until the event actually takes place, as even otherwise notable events can be cancelled or postponed at the last minute by a major incident. If preparation for the event is not already in progress, speculation about it must be well documented. Examples of appropriate topics include the 2024 U.S. presidential election and 2028 Summer Olympics. By comparison, the 2036 U.S. presidential election and 2044 Summer Olympics are not appropriate article topics if nothing can be said about them that is verifiable and not original research. Avoid predicted sports team lineups, which are inherently unverifiable and speculative. A schedule of future events may be appropriate if it can be verified. As an exception, even highly speculative articles about events that may or may not occur far in the future might be appropriate where coverage and reliable sources is sufficient. For example, ultimate fate of the universe is an acceptable topic. 2. Individual items from a predetermined list or a systematic pattern of names, pre-assigned to future events or discoveries, are not suitable article topics if only generic information is known about the item. List of tropical cyclone names is encyclopedic. Tropical storm Alex, 2028 is not, even though it is virtually certain that such a storm will occur. Similarly, Articles about words formed on a predictable numeric system, such as septuaginquagintillion, are not encyclopedic unless they are defined on good authority or genuinely in use. Certain scientific extrapolations are considered to be encyclopedic, such as chemical elements documented by IUPAC before isolation in the laboratory, provided that scientists have made significant non-trivial predictions of their properties. 3. Articles that present original research in the form of extrapolation, speculation, and future history are inappropriate. Although scientific and cultural norms continually evolve, we must wait for this evolution to happen, rather than try to predict it. Of course, we do and should have articles about notable artistic works, essays, or credible research that embody predictions. An article on weapons in Star Trek is appropriate. An article on weapons to be used in World War III is not. 4. Although currently accepted scientific paradigms may later be rejected, and hypotheses previously held to be controversial or incorrect sometimes become accepted by the scientific community, it is not the place of Wikipedia to venture such projections. 5. Wikipedia is not a collection of product announcements and rumors. Although Wikipedia includes up-to-date knowledge about newly revealed products, short articles that consist of only product announcement information are not appropriate. Until such time that more encyclopedic knowledge about the product can be verified, product announcements should be merged to a larger topic, such as an article about the creator, a series of products, or a previous product if applicable. Wikipedia is not a newspaper. Editors are encouraged to include current and up-to-date information within its coverage, and to develop standalone articles on significant current events. However, not all verifiable events are suitable for inclusion in Wikipedia. Ensure that Wikipedia articles are not 1. Original reporting. Wikipedia should not offer first-hand news reports on breaking stories. Wikipedia does not constitute a primary source. However, our sister projects Wikisource and Wikinews do exactly that, and are intended to be primary sources. Wikipedia does have many encyclopedia articles on topics of historical significance that are currently in the news, and can be updated with recently verified information. 2. News reports. Wikipedia considers the enduring notability of persons and events. While news coverage can be useful source material for encyclopedic topics, most newsworthy events do not qualify for inclusion, and Wikipedia is not written in news style. For example, routine news reporting of announcements, sports, or celebrities is not a sufficient basis for inclusion in the encyclopedia. While including information on recent developments is sometimes appropriate, breaking news should not be emphasized or otherwise treated differently from other information. Timely news subjects not suitable for Wikipedia may be suitable for our sister project Wikinews, though that is not a particularly active project. 3. Who's who. Even when an event is notable, individuals involved in it may not be. Unless news coverage of an individual goes beyond the context of a single event, our coverage of that individual should be limited to the article about that event, in proportion to their importance to the overall topic. 4. Celebrity gossip and diary. Even when an individual is notable, not all events they are involved in are. For example, news reporting about celebrities and sports figures can be very frequent and cover a lot of trivia, but using all these sources would lead to over-detailed articles that look like a diary. Not every match played or goal scored is significant enough to be included in the biography of a person.